Right. A very good evening, everyone, for tuning in. Welcome to our very first event for the Malaysian chapter for the Association of Contextual Behavioral Science. Very good evening, and everyone, for tuning in. Michael actually have to have feedback loop just now there. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, welcome for our very first event. So we would like to invite everyone to join us today as we have a casual chat with regards to ACT, acceptance commitment therapy, and how it affects or changes all the practitioners' various domains from their career, their life, and everything else. And we have actually the pleasure of having Dr. Nurul Nadia, a psychiatrist from Malaysia, with us today to actually kind of talk about her own experience. I personally have seen her gone through the changes as you pick it up over the years, and you could see lot of difference in her. But I'm not going to spoil the plot. I'm going to let her talk it in her own words to describe it. So welcome, Dr. Nadia. And maybe we could just start a bit by having you telling us briefly about yourself. Tell the audience a bit about yourself.
First of all, thanks so much, Dr. Eugene, for having me today. And well done on being the first president for Malaysia chapter of ACBS. I'm so proud.
Thank
you. Well done. Thank you for your hard work to establish the Malaysia chapter of ACBS. So thank you so much and well done. Okay, basically, I'm a proud mother of two. I have a son aged 12 years old and a daughter 10 years old. My son diagnosed with ASD, high functioning with ADHD. So it has been quite a lot of struggle for every one of us in our family. And I'm like what Dr. Eugene has said, I'm a psychiatrist. Thank you for a very nice introduction. And I just love traveling, giving talk, and coffee. So I think basically that's all about me.
I think every psychiatrist has a love for coffee. We kind of get addicted to it, isn't it?
Definitely, it's a reward.
Okay, so how did you get into ACT? How do you learn about ACT, or how do you pick up ACT? I mean, maybe we could find out about that.
Okay, I first heard about ACT is from the late Professor Hasanah Ismail. She was my dearest lecturer when I'm doing my master's in psychiatry. She has helped me a lot, and probably as everyone knows that she already passed away due to cancer. And throughout her journey, she made lots of notes in her Facebook, and you can see that from her written that she practices a lot of ACT. And then I thought that I can only learn ACT when I have to go some short courses in overseas. And then suddenly Eugene, Dr. Eugene, come out with a poster about introduction to ACT, a course about introduction to ACT. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like, a prayer comes true. At least I can learn something. So I'm very excited. So that's how I get involved with ACT. And yeah.
Okay, which course was this? The Johor one, was it? Oh yeah, I remember you were there.
Yes, I was there, and then I went for the second one as well, because the first one I was full of curiosity, and I feel so relatable, which I forgot about, like all that we use in that. So I joined the second one. I cannot remember which one. Is it in JB? The one, but I joined twice, and you gave me like a free, a free participation. I don't have to pay for the fees for my second time. So that's when I really learned a lot, because I heard same things from almost similar people, like almost like quite consecutively. So I get whole and more confident in practicing ACT basically.
I actually never tell anyone, but yeah, yes, I do agree with that. And I do agree that this is something I'm going to detour a bit. This is actually something not just what I do with my courses. I think a lot of other courses do it across international, where there's always, I'm not sure, do you experience this, where when people want to learn ACT, all they need to do is ask. I want to join this. I might not be able to afford this, or I want to join this. I'm interested. And often, the organizers will be very happy to give discounts, and they will be happy to accommodate. And I think that kind of embellished the spirit of ACT a lot. They always want people to learn about it. So
Yeah.
I'm not blowing my own horns here. I'm actually encouraging, because I do see that often with every organizers who are really interested to teach people ACT. They will either provide discounts or they provide the resources with that. So aside from that 2 workshop, how else have you picked up ACT along the way? Any other courses, any books or?
Books, definitely. For the first time in my life, like basically lah, I'm exaggerating, but after I become a psychiatrist, I actually bought three types or 3 books on ACT. One immediately after the course, the first course that I went, the introduction to ACT, I just try to find this ACT made simple. Oh no, I cannot show it because I'm using the visual background.
Yeah.
So ACT made simple, second edition, and then they provide with lots of free resources as well. So that has been very helpful. And then I bought my second one. I cannot remember what's the title, but the third one is the happiness trap. The second one was the purple one. I cannot remember what's the title.
Something about the breaking something one, right?
Yes. I'm sorry, it's just top block. So I probably it's because I really enjoying the book, so I forgot about the title. But and it surprised me actually. It surprised me because each time you read the ACT book, it just makes you to buy more. And I'm definitely thinking of joining one of the online courses, but unfortunately, I think I'm quite busy at the moment to do so. Better time and a better opportunity for me to join. But definitely, I will join, and definitely, I will invite everyone to join, because and to buy the book as well, the resources as well, because I think Ras Haris, he's been very generous. Even I joined the Facebook, the international ACT, and they have like lots of resources over there. And I think everyone, all the ACT practitioner, they do not mind to share ideas, give opinions, share resources. So you feel like you are belong to a huge community with evidence-based community. It's not just words of mouth. It's definitely evidence, and it makes you feel very comfortable to practice ACT. So I think that's what I enjoy most.
I'm going to share what I have in my mind now. When Nadia was talking, when you said you were exaggerating, I actually don't think it's exaggerating, but this is what happens. Every time Nadia buys a new book on ACT, she'll go to our chat group, she'll take a photo of it, and she'll show it all of us. She'll show it to all of us, and you could actually feel her excitement and about reading the book. And she will always start the chat, and then you have other people coming in and talking about it and say, yeah, we also like this, we like this paragraph. I do think we can learn ACT not just through courses. I mean, even the books and everything, and it's also a journey. I don't know, would you agree with me? It's a journey that every time we learn something new, we get excited about it and we want to talk about it. We want to grab the next ACT practitioners and look, I've done this, I've learned this, I want to do this. And along the way, you kind of grow from that kind of learning experiences.
I think you're right. Definitely, you're definitely right. I think that's the thing about ACT. You're very flexible. I mean, all the practitioners, especially what I can learn from you, from Nick, from the one who I think probably the core person, Dr. Jana. Sorry, Dr. Marina as well. Yeah. So they always emphasize on being flexible. You don't have to really follow all the rules. Even Ras Haris, in each of his books, also he always mentioned, but always relate to your client, always relate to your situations, always relate to your culture. So I think that is very relatable. That is the value of ACT. Probably in comparison to the other type of psychotherapy, although we should not really compare. But yeah, that's what I feel the difference. And in ACT, you don't really need to like go through to the phase of you have to go through the course and only can be known as practitioner, and then you have to go to the second course, and then only the facilitators, only the third course. You don't have to do that. So I think that's what I really enjoy or appreciate ACT.
I really, really agree also with that. ACT is that approachable. You don't, everyone can bring to the table a different perspective. Everyone, even if you're just learning it from the beginning, you could share your own experience, and then we will all learn from it. We will figure out, I could relate to that, or that's new, and we incorporate our own understanding, or we incorporate our own theories and ideas about it into that whole framework of ACT that we are trained with. Which brings me to my next question, which I think you highlighted something. Culture and our society and all this. How do you think ACT has impacted that in your sense? How has it influenced or impact or relate to culture, or dare I say spirituality and society in your own, in your own words, in your own world? Maybe you could share a bit on that.
I would like to share my personal experience, but when you ask this question, suddenly I remember one of my patients. He has been, he's quite young. He's very young, but he has this not confusing thoughts. Not contradict thoughts, but thoughts that he is a Muslim, but he has the thoughts of challenging the God. He has the thoughts of why so many sad things happen in the world, and he's a very great student, and these thoughts really disturb him, and he has been living with depression thoughts. And during the initial consultations, we diagnosed him to have MDD with self-harm and suicidal thoughts. So he was quite moderate to severe, I would say, in terms of the MDD. However, during the second consultations, then only I got to know that actually these are the things that has been bothering him. So ACT allow me we never judge our patients anyway, but by practicing, it gives me such confidence to talk and to go through the thoughts, the challenges that he has against his religion, against God, against all the sad things that happen in life. And he actually taught me that something that he said that really resonate in me up until now is, so I just explore my thoughts and see how far the thoughts, or how far my thoughts challenging God is going to be. Is that what you asked me to do? And he asked me that question. So I was like, yeah, isn't it? I think because it's a thought, and why don't we just explore what else rather than we try to suppress? And when we suppress, we know that the thought is just getting bigger and getting more distressed, and it's not going nowhere. So we together actually try to explore, even though spiritually, religiously, I feel like this is the right thing to do. But then because the end results, he finally able to explore the whole thing, the whole issues about him and God, and finally he find peace. And I think that is something that
is something. I mean, typically, I'm a psychiatrist myself, so typically if you come to me like that, my old training would be, let's suppress it, let's get rid of this, we must put a stop, we must chop it off, and
you must have your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. And you took a different approach. You let it flow, you see where it goes.
Yeah, because of ACT. So, because when you read the books, when you listen to Ras Haris, from YouTube, you have the confidence that it is safe for us to just explore how far the thoughts can go. And that is the thing that, my patient tell me the exact words. So I just need to explore how far it can go, doctor. I try to, do some exercise about ACT, and I just, let's go together. So yeah, that's my experience.
I recognize that look of, aha, that kind.
Yeah.
How did this affect your career then, how did this affect your perspective as a psychiatrist since you pick up ACT then? Because most of the time, traditionally we say psychiatrists find diagnosis, find treatment, find diagnosis, find formulation, find treatment, and yet ACT talks about transdiagnosis, talks about let's explore, let's look at workability. How has that impacted, or how that has changed your clinical practice then, ACT in your clinical work?
To tell you the truth, I think I feel less anxious actually. Whenever my patients comes with any type of thoughts dissonance, or any thoughts issues, any emotions. Like previously, as a new psychiatrist, ECP, early career psychiatrist, I do have these vulnerabilities inside me. How can I deal with this to help my patients? But once I learn about ACT, yes, I still have the vulnerabilities. I still have how to approach, but at the same time, because ACT is so flexible and it doesn't requires me to challenge the thoughts or to stop my patients from thinking about the thought, rather to just explore and identify exactly what is inside the thoughts, what are the emotions, and just being identified also, you can see that your patients are with you during the therapy, because they don't feel the pressure that they have to stop the thoughts. Rather, we say it is okay, it's just a thought. And when we do the creative hopelessness, most of the time they would easily pick up, yes, it doesn't work anymore, suppressing, repressing my thoughts, it doesn't work for me. So I think that's what I really learn, or grateful to Russ Harris and Steve Hayes as well, because they are they're the father of ACT. So yeah, I think that's the thing, Eugene.
Let me throw you a curveball then. Have you ever had other psychiatrists looking at you and goes like, huh, what are you doing? Why are you not, focusing on the diagnosis? Why are you not focusing on, DSM-5 and all this? Have you ever encountered that before?
No, because Dr. Aisha, she's one of my specialists. I think she also went to one of your introduction session.
Yeah.
I think we can relate. But I think at the same time, I do not think ACT is so new among us. Like, I think people already heard about ACT, especially when we talk about acceptance, isn't it? So I think more or less, most of the psychiatrists, they already like aware about it, but they just probably all the components of ACT, how to actually accept it. That's what they need to learn. But yeah, no, fortunately, I do not have that kind of experience as yet. But I do got lots, few psychiatrists, even the seniors one, ask me, what's so, what's the difference about ACT? What are the principles of ACT? So yeah, I think that's a good thing.
The reason why I brought that up was I've seen this. I think, like you said, you happen to be in an environment where other practitioners are there and they could relate to it. I've seen that in Nick's environment, his Unisys and all this. I've not encountered this in my own department, but I've MOs who actually asked me this. MO who asked me this question. How, doctor, I pick up ACT. I want to do it for my clients, for my patients. My specialist says, no, give medicine, do this first. And they find it hard. They actually find it hard to talk about it. They actually find it hard.
That is a surprise. That is a surprise, because I thought as a psychiatrist, we do both, isn't it? We
Yes.
offer both pharmacology and also psychotherapy, whenever we have the chance to. So that's weird.
I've come to a point where, this is just for casual. I've come to a point where I adopted this. I think it's a mindset shift. So more and more psychiatrists are now picking up therapy. They all have a certain way of thinking, but not all yet. So maybe the ones that you encountered falls with the other extremes, where they haven't put therapy and medication on equal footing. They might see it as exclusive things. You have to do one or the other, and they don't mix together. But anyway, I digress really. So
Okay. That's actually interesting fact, because I thought the reasons why I want to become a psychiatrist is because I do not want to just give medication. I want to do psychotherapy at the same time. So that's why I want to become a psychiatrist.
I would say that's a very ECP view. I would say that. And you see the shift. More and more of the ECPs all come up with some form of therapy, that they specialize in. ACT is a popular one. I think because it's easy to pick up, and there's no so-called certification, so cost-wise it's relatively cheaper. I do think that it's something that's gonna up and coming. Okay, just moving on. At the very early, and I know you talk about this in a number of your talks also. Your child, you mentioned about your child. You are very open about it. But correct me if I'm wrong, you are only more open about it after you pick up ACT, isn't it? About your child and yeah.
Not really. I'm
Okay.
actually already talked about him like since he was like 2-3 years old, or since I'm active on Facebook.
All right.
And about him, there will be few mothers. Some I don't even know who are they. And they PM me or messenger me saying that thank you for sharing my stories, because they learned something. So yeah, but actually I wrote less currently because there are just so much of struggling, mainly because of the PDPR. But I think I allow me to sort of accepting him more. And when we talk about ACT, we cannot run away from talking about self-compassion. So sorry, what's her name again? Dr. Kirstine something, that I think she's the founder of self-compassion, or the one that coined the word self-compassion. And I'm very surprised because we share similar stories. Because if I'm not sure whether you heard about her talk or not, but but how she actually coined the word self-compassion is because she also has a son who also diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and whenever they have tantrum or meltdown, you just lost. Like, I'm a psychiatrist, I have special interest in child and adolescent, I have all kinds of theories, techniques and everything in my head. But whenever my own son, have a meltdown, I lost. I completely lost. But self-compassion, which is one of the things that I learned from ACT, allow me to be accepting about my own emotions, about my own insecurities, about my own, the thinking that I'm a failure as a mother, I'm not a good enough mother. It allowed me to just be with my thoughts, but my action can be a completely opposite of my thought. So I think that is what I'm very grateful about ACT, and if I may, continue, Eugene, I think some of my good friends, they probably know that how I'm having this inferiority complex. Like I always think that I'm not good enough. I always believe that I'm just worthless, hopeless type of person. Regardless what I did, it's just not good enough. I won't be enough. And but I found that people unable to accept it. I feel that I do not have anybody to acknowledge that feeling, because people would say something like, but you achieve this, but you do this, but you are this, you are that, and nobody acknowledge that feeling. But by learning ACT, I realized that fine, I do not need anybody to actually acknowledge that, because I am the one who need to acknowledge that. And the reasons why I am doing what I'm doing now is because of the values that I have. So regardless what I have, or what kind of monsters, like Ras Haris always refer to, all these not negative thinking, but all these unwanted thoughts, feelings, all monsters, even though I have lots of monsters in my head, in my emotions, but because of the values, it allowed me to just move on, or to just live with the life that I'm having now. So I think that's just profound, to tell you the truth. And you know, ACT definitely helped me to do that.
For those who were wondering why I was smiling just now, because Nadia is one of the few person that I keep telling I actually have insecurity issues and I always struggle with it. And yeah, and I could relate. I could highly relate to what you just said. There's so much monsters and demons in everyone's life. I mean, I would go as far to say there's so much monsters and demons and things that we struggle with so much. And as you said, ACT allow us that idea of being compassionate, that idea of giving us more room to be ourselves. Have embracing those things doesn't mean, doesn't mean we are evil. Doesn't mean that we cannot do
We
something.
have to live by it. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. And I think I've spoke to you before about how much I struggle with my imposter syndrome. I often and you often says that it doesn't reflect the things I've been doing. And I agree with you. I agree with you exactly that it doesn't stop those things that pops up. It comes up in the head all the time. And it can beat us up quite badly. And I think without ACT, we would have been a very different person. I would this is where I will ask you that before ACT and after ACT, okay? Have you found yourself being a very different person? Just on your personal way of how you see life, how you approach life. Do you find yourself feel the same, or you're more comfortable with being yourself? Or...
Okay, I'm not sure whether I can say I can definitely be a different type of person or become a different type of person before and after ACT, because I think the people who are around me probably have a better idea. However, definitely I feel ACT allow me to accept myself better, and that's the most important thing. And each time all these monsters, devils, demons comes, I don't feel much struggling anymore. I less doubt myself. Yes, I still feel vulnerable, but I'm just taking it slowly. I just, I'm able to say, I'm going to live with this kind of thought, saying I'm not good enough like forever. I won't be able to get rid of it. But I'm just going to bring these monsters with me slowly. But at the same time, I will live up to my values. So it gave me more confidence and definitely accepting me. And I think there's a word, isn't it? For us to be able to accept others, we need to first accept ourselves. So I hope I am more open to perspectives, to ideas, to probably different arguments, and I hope I'm getting better at it. Yeah.
I'm going to share something if you don't mind.
Okay.
Share something. We met many years ago, way before we were. I mean, way back when we were MOs. I don't think you remember me. In fact, we met in Taiping. That Nadia in Taiping in one of the talks. I will tell you that much. And this is 10 years ago, by the way, but it made an impression. I won't go as far to say that Nadia was someone who were struggling, who were, as you said, needing to get a certain recognition, needing to be what society kind of wants them to be. That, and it made an impression. But sorry to say, it was a negative kind of impression. This is 10 years ago. I would say the Nadia now that I see, and I do actually mean every single word I said when I told you this a few days ago, it's a very different person. You're more open, you're more comfortable, you say things as it is. You're more comfortable with being wrong. You're more comfortable with having just saying the perspective, and you're more flexible. I noticed this change. In fact, I noticed this change when I first met you in the course. I think that time you already were into ACT. I think over the years, and this is not something I just noticed, I know a lot of people actually says this also. Nadia has become a very different person since you pick up ACT, since you, it seems like it kind of incorporates into many domains of your life. I'm going to avoid saying it's a good thing or bad thing, positive or negative, but I would say that from outer appearance, superficially, you seem more fulfilled, you seem more purposeful compared to, you know, if I really to put the harsh comment, compared to the one I met 10 years ago. If you, I would not be comfortable to have this conversation here today if you were still that same person 10 years ago.
Definitely.
Compared to today, yeah, exactly. And yeah,
definitely.
So, but I would also say this is something a lot of ACT practitioners go through this. When they pick up this space, you actually see this change. You actually see how we kind of embrace this thing into every domain in our life. And it changes our perspective. It changes the way we approach for quite a number of things, actually. This, which leads me to one, which leads me to one thing, that parenting. I know this is not in some of the things we brought up, but have you used ACT in your parenting style since you picked it up?
Definitely.
Definitely. Which
Really
one? Which
a
part?
lot. Definitely a lot.
Mm.
I think to sit with my son and also my daughter whenever they, you know, whenever they start to behave in certain ways, and just to allow them to act, to be. How do you feel? What kind of emotions or what kind of thoughts that you are having at the moment?
Yeah.
You just share with me. You just share with me, and it is okay. So I think that is profound, because I my children, they can just now easily told me, Umi, I feel frustrated now. Umi, I think you hurt me. Umi, I feel stressed. Umi, I feel sad. I feel anxious. So to hear it from your children, and upon hearing it, I don't immediately judge myself as a mother. I think that is just wow. That is just wow. So yeah, I think that's definitely, I use ECT in not just parenting, but also, you know, with my husband, with my friendship, and I think once I'm able to comfortably accept my monsters, my demons inside my head, my emotions, I am also able to accept differences from other people as well, more comfortably, more confidently, and not too much on, I'm not too scared about people judgment on me anymore. I don't really care. Not I don't really care. I do care, but you know, it's just accepting and move forward. So yeah, I think that's what I learned from that. So thank you to Eugene who do the course.
I
Definitely, I own you big. Definitely, Eugene. Seriously, I owe you so much.
I wouldn't go as far. I do think your previous mentor would have started it. She would have sowed the seed into it, and we kind of moved through the progress. And I do think about that also. I do think ACT has always been about sowing seeds. You plant this little seed about some idea. You plant this little seed, maybe, you know, a bit about mindfulness. You plant this little seed about acceptance. You plant this seed about being empowered, self-compassion, just a small seed. And from there, it tends to grow. It tends to bring more and more changes to pretty much everyone who's experienced it, who's exposed to it.
True.
So, okay.
Very true.
I've never said that before. Now that I put it that way, now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, seriously, because you know, I'm not sure. I can't really remember which one come first. Whether it's me interested in ACT and learning about ACT, or me learning about resilience. like, or probably I learned, I heard about resilience so many years ago, but it doesn't really relatable, or it doesn't really coherently went with my life. But then after I learned about ACT and I read again about resilience, it just resonates so well. Because like previously we tell ourselves, you need to be strong, you need to be strong, you need to try harder, you need to be strong, you need to be strong, basically. And it doesn't validate you as a person. But with resilience, it allows you to fall down, to fail, and then it allows you, because of the values, it allows you to bounce back, not to your origin space, but you are allowed to bounce even higher. Which, I know about this even before ACT, but then after I learned ACT, then with the principles of resilience, and it acknowledge you as a person. Because we are a person, we're not an angel, we are not someone, we were not rock, we have emotions, we have our bad days, we have our good days, we have unwanted emotions, wanted emotions, and you cannot say no, and you cannot throw away the part of you that come with all these unwanted feelings, or what we call as monsters or demons, because that is part of you. To remove it, you actually remove part of you. So how are you going to move forward when you already remove part of you? So it's about accepting that part of you, but at the same time, you just try to tame them down, basically, using all the metaphors and everything in ACT, and then live up to your values. Know what are your values. And we always have the choice points thing that we learn from ACT. So I think, it just clicked to my mind each time I'm in conflict, even, if I'm frustrated about something, the choice points, because it's kind of easy, and you don't challenge yourself. Because I think I'm tired, probably some of us also, and my patients and our patients probably, they are tired of challenging themselves, just trying to be strong, just trying to feel that they are right. In ACT, you don't have to be right. So that's wonderful. That's the wonderful thing.
Have you ever, while we run through the techniques, while we run through the metaphors, have you ever find yourself going, you find yourself using the exact same words over and over again to different people, but you see different outcomes? So, like, let's say, choice points or a particular metaphor, you tend to say the same thing over and over again, but you see very different outcomes or different reactions. It's usually a very pleasant or useful outcome. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? Whenever you run the techniques, you keep saying the same words or the same, thinking yourself, hey, I'm repeating this again and again and again. Have you ever had that thought?
Not unfortunately, not as yet. Yeah, not.
Not really, can.
I can't really remember any of my patients. Basically, it's no.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty about ACT.
Have you? Oh, okay.
No, I think that's the beauty about ACT, because if you think about it, our toolkits are similar. It's the same toolkit being taught to everyone. The same metaphors, the same ideas, the same techniques. But everyone uses it differently. And even in ourselves, when we use it to different clients, we use it very differently. Sort of like naturally, you don't consciously think, I must follow this script, I must follow this way of saying, or I must always repeat the same thing over and over again. It comes quite into I'm going to get tongue-tied here. Sort of like intuitions. It pop up just like that, without much really. Okay, so as we are going to wrap up the,
isn't it?
Sorry, Nadia, you broke up a bit just now. What do you say?
ACT is about principles.
Yeah, exactly. It's always about
principles.
It's always about
how you are going, how you're going to conduct it, or how you're going to live it. It's up to you, how you understand it. And Russ Harris also, in all his books, okay lah, I just read 3. All his books, he repeatedly said, but it's flexible, used with some flexibility. Other examples also okay. This is in my culture. I've heard this from the other country or the other culture, and I think that's great. You know, that's great. That's basically human.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so we're done to our last 5 minutes. I've been monitoring the screen. We have around 8 to 10 people viewing live, ongoing. I think that keep changing, so I wouldn't know whether it's the same person. So if anyone have any questions to ask Dr. Nadia, I think this is the time. If there's questions, we'll try to answer. If there aren't, just pop the question. If you're going to hear watch this video later, the chat, the comment section will be monitored, and we will try to attend to that. But I do have one final question for Nadia, on my side at least. What would you advise if someone wants to pick up ACT? What would be your advice to them if they ever want to pick up ACT and they come to you and say, Dr. Nadia, I want to learn about ACT? What would be your advice to them?
Honestly, I would say, please wait for Dr. Eugene's and team introductory course.
I mean, maybe anything besides that. I wouldn't be doing the courses all the time. But yes,
that would be my honest advice, Dr. Eugene. Trust me, that would be my honest advice. And I would tell them you need to attend the introductory course at least twice. And then you must buy the books. You must buy the books. And you must understand the principles of ACT. You must allow yourself and learn. And before doing the ACT, you must be able, not must is a very strong word, but you know, at least learn to accept yourself. Be comfortable with your own thoughts. Be comfortable with your own unwanted emotions, unwanted feelings. Be comfortable with it. Then hopefully you can deliver to other people or help other people, patients, clients better. Because we know that when we practice something wholeheartedly, it will be easier for us to deliver it to other people. Because like ACT, you need to be genuine. You need to be genuine. You can't really talk about ACT or practicing ACT without actually believing in terms of the principles. So that would be my advice actually.
Yeah. I do agree wholeheartedly. ACT is about learning it a bit, do it many times, practice it on your own, and that's the way we can all pick it up and all this. I'm going to do promotional here. What Nadia said about the courses, I do it once a year, if resources allow. But this is the Malaysia chapter of ACBS. We do have a huge group of people who are interested to provide training, who are interested to want to share this experience with other people. So just monitor this chat, this Facebook page. We will share events as they come in. We will share as it rolls out. And in the very near future, if you happen to be a member of this chapter, we would actually provide discounts, or we provide some benefits for future events. So watch this Facebook page, and there will be more and more announcements as we build. Give us some time. We only formed, I think, 2 months ago. So now we're kind of building all the things and get it rolling. I can go ahead and say that in December, we do have one more talk to plan, title to be confirmed. In January, the committee has put me on the board. I am coming in to talk about New Year resolution. That one in January, that's confirmed. And let's see more and more events that come along there. Okay. Thank you very much, Nadia, for spending 45 minutes. It's been a pleasure. I really do enjoy having this chat, and hope to have you more for more events like this, and we just see where it goes then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eugene. The honor is mine. Thank you so much. I owe it a lot. And this is from my heart as well.